was a gambler. He was a NASCAR racer, lost a business, a family, homes, and a lot of my trust issues and other addiction issues.
It became a problem. I couldn't go a day without gambling. Every race I had to gamble, at least something.
As a kid, it always took me to the track. I was always involved with it. On Sundays, you know, he owned bars. I was there with football games. You know, I just grew up with it. So I can't say that it actually just was something normal to me. You know, as far to me, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I just thought that's how life was. You know, going around collecting bets, collecting money.
When you're spending your grocery money and asking me to fund you and then going to these places and becoming mean and violent. Like, I wish I had videotaped it. Like, it's just so random, like how odd she became.
And they had scratch-off tickets there. And I would never, I'll never forget the first time I cashed my paycheck and I couldn't make it 2 miles away to the bank without blowing 3/4 of it on scratch-off tickets before I even walked out the door.
I was starting to lie about where I was, when I was. You know, I couldn't sit there and say, well, I was at the Racino for the last 12 hours. Never walk out with a dime. I don't care how much I won. I had to leave it all behind.
I literally had to move because I had to sneak into my apartment and I seen somebody down the road in a parked car and someone, I was in a cul-de-sac and someone, you know, driving by my house, and I knew that was the bookmaker's car, and I literally had to pack up and leave through the back door because I don't know what they were going to do.
We would have school or tests the next day, and we'd say, Mom, you know, we're here a long time, you know, like, it's getting like midnight, we have school tomorrow. She's like, oh, you can just sleep in the van, you know, I need to keep playing right now. You know, don't bother me, you're going to ruin my streak, kind of thing.
Max and I, we got into a fight I'd stolen from our family, and I finally got caught on it, and I swallowed enough pills to pretty much put a cow down. That was probably it for me. I didn't realize it at the time, but looking back. And I mean, that is just for today too. It's like everybody else said, you know, we can have different levels of bottoms. And I think one of the things is that we have to constantly, like you had talked about euphoric recall. And it is. It is very easy to remember, just like in the other addiction. It's very easy to remember all of the good that happened, all the fun times and the winning.
I was going down to Atlantic City and clocking the time to make sure I made it back in the morning for work. I would leave right after work. So it's like I had to hustle to work to make that money so I could go and gamble. But yet at gambling, I was allowed to drink. And it didn't cost me as much.
Right.
So the more I gambled, and it depends on where you sit, how you approach it, and when you walk in, you don't hear nothing.
Right.
You'll hear the
In the
bells,
zone.
and it could be so crowded, but you feel like you're walking on air.
I sit in an office where the people know what I've been through. I own the business and I'll have someone sitting there playing video poker right in front of me. You know, I mean, it's so acceptable.
I didn't realize I had a problem until I spoke about it more.
Right.
And I realized that I did really have a problem. It was just a way of life for me every day. It was the same thing.
There are thousands of people locally that have these issues that don't know where to go.
No, there's no help at all. There's on the machines there's a little sign, but there ain't nobody coming around the paddock or in the barn areas telling you, oh, you got a gambling problem. There's none of that.
I'd like to know where the money is. You know, I would like to know where some of the help is, because the more I got into it and I sat there and looked around, I realized that the same people were sitting there the same time, the same day for hours and hours and hours. So it's not just me. There's a lot of people in our community, and I would say thousands. I do not see them at group. You know, where are they? Where is any kind of flyer, you know?
about it from a government standpoint, whether it be state, local, state, or federal. You know, there's a gigantic conflict of interest in this country. And, we will take all of the money from gambling, but we won't do anything about addressing the problems that arise from the issue.
Homicide and the drug addiction and the underpinning, I would say the underpinning of so much of it is pathological gambling. And because it's not, correlation does not imply causation, but they're not even getting correlation out of it. They're not seeing what's really going on out there. You guys, we see the stories every day. And like you're saying, like Jay, like, you know, you guys come in, you didn't even know that there was a program for this half the time. You didn't pay attention to it. There's a little brochure somewhere, and probably the number doesn't work.